Hey Internet, Bill from DoMoreScience here. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but this summer has been a scorcher. I am all kinds of sweaty, very shiny these days, temperature in the 90s, humidity in the 90s. So I thought we would take a moment to do a really cool science experiment, one that's going to cool us down and is going to taste delicious. This experiment is going to be edible when we're done, which means we're going to need some supplies and some ingredients from the kitchen. What you're going to need as far as equipment is just some measuring spoons, some measuring cups, and a couple of zip-top bags. I have a couple of gallon size here with a zipper on top. And then finally, some winter gloves. So what do we need for ingredients? Well, for our edible experiment today, we're going to need some half and half. We're going to need some vanilla. You'll need some sugar and ice. About 3 cups is what we need. The smaller the better. It's not an exact measurement. Now, if you look here, we've got vanilla, we've got half and half, we've got sugar, and we've got ice. That should all come together in your mind, and you should be thinking ice cream. And that's exactly what we're going to make. But instead of just mixing everything together and putting it in a freezer waiting for it to set, we're going to use a little bit of science. The last ingredient we need for this, the key ingredient that we need for this, is right here. This is salt. Not just any salt, this is rock salt. Now we're not actually going to put this in the food, but we are going to use this for the same reason we put it on the sidewalks and on the road in the winter. So before we mix together our ice cream ingredients, we're going to mix together our ice and rock salt. We're going to make an ice bath. And to do that, we're going to need about 3 cups of ice. Again, the smaller the better. It's not an exact measurement though, so I'm just going to estimate here. Okay, now we're going to add in about a 1/3 cup of the rock salt. And again, this is not an exact measurement. I've got a 1/3 cup measurer here, but I'm actually going to put a little bit extra in because I really want to make sure this works. I've got a 1/3 and a little extra in there. And that's it. We're just going to set this aside for a moment. We'll come back to it after we've put our ice cream ingredients together. And for this, we're going to need about 1/2 cup of half and half. This time we are going to measure pretty close because this is the part that we're actually going to eat. So about 1/2 cup of half and half. You'll want to make sure that you don't have any holes in your bag before you start. Here's our half and half. And then we're going to need about a tablespoon of sugar. Finally, we're going to need about a 1/4 tablespoon of vanilla. A little bit goes a very long ways, but this is where the flavor is. All right, carefully add that in, and that's it. This is our ice cream. Now all we need to do is freeze it. To do that, I'm going to zip up this zip top bag. This is where we're going to want our gloves because we're going to take that bag of half and half and vanilla and sugar. We're going to put it right down inside of our bag of ice and rock salt. And then we're going to mix it. To do that, we're just going to mix it with our hands. Well, now to do this, you just kind of want to toss it around back and forth. You don't break the inner bag because if you rub the ice and the salt around too hard, then you're going to end up puncturing the bag in the middle, and you're going to get rock salt inside of your ice cream, and you don't want that. This is going to take a little while. It's going to take maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Okay, so it's only been about 5 minutes. I didn't use very much half and half, so it has frozen pretty much ready to go. So don't get that rock salt on your fingers. If I pull this out and check out what we've made, you can see that it's not a liquid anymore. The ice cream has frozen solid. So, why does this happen? What's the science? Well, let's clear a workspace here and hopefully we can make it all make sense. So now that we got our mess cleaned up, I've prepared 2 containers of ice here. One with just some nice cold fresh water, and one with our spoopy rock salt. And to understand how the ice cream froze, we gotta understand what we use rock salt for and why we use it. If you're like me, you thought, well, we put rock salt on the ice, on the sidewalk and the roads in the winter to keep people from slipping, to keep cars from sliding, so the salt must somehow heat up the ice, and that causes it to melt. But the truth of the matter, as is usually the case, is a little more complicated than that. To understand how it works, we have to understand what ice is. Ice is water molecules that have become part of a crystal structure. And the thing that happens with salt is salt kind of gets in the way of those water molecules coming together. Salt and water naturally repel each other, and it gets a little complicated, but all we really have to know is that the water molecules can't come together as easily because the salt is kind of in the way. So because the salt is getting in the way, that means it takes more energy to hold the ice together. What does that actually mean? That means it's stealing energy away from the ice. And we can measure that by measuring the temperature. Salt water freezes at a lower temperature than fresh water because that salt is stealing away energy that the ice needs to hold itself together. So if you want to freeze salt water, you have to get it colder. And if we measure the temperatures, we should find that this container with just freshwater ice is about 32 degrees, whereas this one is going to be more like 28 degrees. So we're going to use our thermometer and see if we can actually measure the difference in temperature between these 2 containers. This is not a laboratory accurate thermometer. I'm getting a reading of about 36 degrees Fahrenheit. So once I put this into our rock salt bath and really submerge it, we should see it almost visibly move down. And indeed, once I do that, it drops down to the actual expected temperature of about 28 degrees. What does that mean for our ice cream? Well, it means that the ice and the rock salt in the bag, as we're mixing it around with our hands, is actually lowering the temperature inside the bag below the freezing point of water, below the freezing point of cream. So our liquid cream then is turning into a delicious frozen treat. Much faster because we're moving it with our hands. We're exposing more of the surface area of that cream, of that half and half, to the cold temperature. That is the key to making a quick serve, soft serve, rock salt ice cream. Go ahead and say that 5 times fast. So there you have it, a quick 10-15 minute ice cream that you can make with a few ingredients and a little bit of science. One of the best parts of this ice cream is that you don't even need the bowl. You can pull the bag out, grab some of your favorite toppings, grab a spoon, and you are ready to eat. My name is Bill from Bill Loudon Science, and I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you stay cool in the hot summer. If you like this video, make sure to like and comment and subscribe and all of those YouTube things. And remember, this summer, let's do more science, have more fun. Oh yeah, that's really good. Oh, great,